right. We're live. Let's see. Hey, Joe. How's it going? Good to see ya. All right. Let me know if sound or picture is a little off, and we'll get started. So the dam has broken. Whatever constipation was happening with the Chinese shipping has now been unblocked. So I got 3 big shipments over the last couple of days. So there's a lot of stuff to open up, and I'll try to make as many videos in a timely, like whatever seems like a priority. I'll try to do those as quickly as I can. But I wanted to do, this is Blacklist Miniatures, so I wanted to show this because they're in their last 3 days of a Kickstarter for the second series of this. So what am I talking about? So this is Fantasy Series 1. So Blacklist Miniatures has been doing miniature board games and things for a bit, and decided to do a series of kind of generic, what they call plastic miniatures for any fantasy adventure. So this is their first series for a fantasy setting, and in this core box is 70 plastic miniatures. So if we take a look at the back, these are not to scale, they're a little bit big as far as, but they're showing you detail, of course. So here's the contents of what's inside just the basic box. So as you can see, it's like a female human barbarian, male human cleric, male dwarf fighter. So just your, race and class combinations, kind of standard race and class combinations, and then multiples of goblins, kobolds, orcs, zombies. And what I'm really curious to see is the ooze. They did a translucent green, like a transparent green for the ooze. So I'm curious to see how those came out. I think there's an elemental in here in the stretch goals. So that might be another nice looking miniature. So as you can see, they're very standard kind of fantasy looking miniatures, and it's something that's always incredibly useful for role playing. I mean, you may not have a miniature that matches your character exactly, but it's a decent representation on the tabletop. So yeah, let's take a look inside. Get this plastic off so you can actually see the graphics a little bit better on the box. It's very shiny. Yeah, there we go. A nice satin finish on the box. Much better. Yeah, so nice art and just kind of representing their default classes. So this is just the core box, and the basic pledge itself was only $65, and that gave you an incredible amount. What was the total here was, sorry, I'm just double checking, over 200. So this is 70, and there's another 130 that were stretch goals that came in a very big stretch goal box. But first, let's take a look at their basic set. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a, oh, well, they put a cover on it too. That's nice. So right away, we've got our monsters and kind of duplicating, and there's more glare. But there we have a tray of monsters, and as you can see, it's multiples, but it's the same sculpt. So they did one sculpt of each, and that works okay, especially if you're, there we go. If the players are being surrounded by multiples, they don't necessarily, I think for miniature wargaming and things, the aesthetics of it are nice to have multiple sculpts, and some board games as well. But if these are just, you know, kind of representational generic miniatures, yeah, right away we've got an ooze. Oh yeah, wow, there you go. Yeah, that came out well. Look at that. Yeah, so of course they showed renders of everything, and then in the updates they showed their proofs and things. But wow, that came out nice. Look at that. Nice detail and nice translucent plastic. So yeah, I think most things look like they're like on a 25 mil base, so very standard size. So, you know, that fits comfortably in an inch square map, or a dry erase sheet, or whatever you're using, a grid for playing. So let's take a quick look. So this looks like, yeah, we got two trays. Yeah, and it doesn't seem impossible to get things back in here. Sometimes these vacuum trays, it's a real tight fit or a real specific angle. So you can't really put things back in very easily. And this is it's a pretty sturdy tray. It feels a little bit thicker than usual. It doesn't have any breakage on the side or whatever. So sometimes they use really thin plastic for these vacuum trays, and so the result is they get crushed and kind of frayed really easily. So it looks like, yeah, you will be able to reuse these. So I will refer to the back of the box again, and we'll try to go through and see what they're calling things. So these appear to be the kobolds. Yeah, so there. Oh yeah, look at those tiny little guys. Let me see if I can, yeah, get the detail zooming in a little bit better here. Yeah, so definitely nice, nice detail. You can see things came out well. Here's our gargoyles. Yeah, not bad at all. And not an incredible amount of flash or anything. They seem pretty clean as far as you know, what you would have to do, kind of prepping them for painting. So we saw the ooze. These are the giant spiders. They're very chubby. Usually they go all legs, so these guys are kind of got fatter bodies. So that fits nicer on the on the base. Right, so yeah, it looks like about 5 of each, and all the same sculpt. So you've got identical sculpts for each of these. So just looking at one of them is going to give you everything you need to know. Here's the giant worm. That's nice. They're really well designed as far as keeping them, you know, kind of in the cylinder of the base, which means, you know, you could put them in adjacent squares very easily. You're not going to be knocking stuff over or losing track of, where everybody is. If you, want to play more strategically as far as, measuring squares, more 4th edition D&D. And here is our giant rat. Yeah, a little wolf-like, but yeah, nice ratty tail though. Yeah, I think these all work. They're very identifiable and serviceable as the fantasy creatures, and they have a specific style. They've got a nice stylization. So this is not. Oh yeah, there's we've still got some other. So I'm thinking troglodytes. Yeah, these look like the troglodytes. So very lizard-ish. Yeah, those work. Yeah, but decent detail. So it's a step above a board game miniature. So definitely meant for tabletop, but not anything. Not anything that's gonna. It's an affordable. Like I said, this is 200 miniatures for $65. So they produce them with some economy, but still nice detail and very clean casts. So those are the troglodytes, and so we've got some more of our. So these look like the gnolls. So those must have been what was it? Oh, goblins. That's right. So the first tiny one we saw. Wow, that's a goblin. Is it though? No, I don't think so. I think this is these are the kobolds. So this must make these guys. Oh, the gnolls. Okay, yeah. So the tiny ones are the kobolds, and these are the gnolls. If I have my monster manual remembered correctly, the size. Yeah, gnolls are more formidable, if I remember. Kobolds are the little more rat. Yeah, so holding spear. So everyone's got all of these have a spear, and they're a little bent. Yeah, they're getting a little warped, but nothing terrible. And let's see, just kind of compare miniature to miniature. Yeah, they've got a little bit. All of them have a little bit of a different waver. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Sorry, get the camera going. Yeah, so not bad at all. And here's our skeletons. Yeah, there's a lot of stylization on the skeleton. He's got a hood and kind of horns. So not just your naked, your typical, naked, what is it? The 7 Voyages of Sinbad kind of stop motion skeleton. A lot more detail. And then our zombie. Yeah, that's pretty generic and standard. Yeah, they didn't spoil the clothing on it. It's like a rope belt and kind of peasant clothing, so it could work as a zombie of just about any origin. And here we go. Here's our orc holding high the two-handed axe there. Yeah, so the plastic, it's got a little flex to it, but the axes are nice and straight. I think it was just those spears, because it gets pretty thin, the handles of those spears. The halves of the spears are pretty thin. There's our goblin. Right, that's goblin-y. Yes, of course, look at that big dog. What's the Pathfinder, the dog chopper, whatever goblins carry in Pathfinder. That's very reminiscent, the real rough forged large bladed swords. Yeah, so it's got a stylization, so very specific and not really so not too generic, but also not imitating anybody else's kind of established style. So they don't have the wide heads of the Pathfinder goblins or anything. So yeah, kind of unique in their own identity. So let's take a look at what we've got put this here. It might be readable from here, right? So over here, it looks like these are all duplicate monsters, and here's our characters and classes. Nice. So a little halfling with a sword. So we have a halfling female, halfling or dwarf. I think this is the dwarf fighter. Yeah, female dwarf fighter. Yeah, decent detail, definitely. Nice adventurer's pack on the back there. Nice sword. This is our. I guess I'll leave these out so we can not repeat ourselves. And this looks like our gnome rogue, dual wielding with his little cape. Yeah, that's decent. Let's see if I can get that close enough. There we go. Get that close enough to the camera to see some actual detail. Yeah, not bad at all. This is feeling very male elf paladin or cleric. Let me see. Oh, maybe human cleric. Yeah, because that's right. Because he's got a hammer, a mace, not a blade. Yeah, that looks more human cleric. Let's see if you can see. There we go. There's a nice shot. Yeah, so you can see the detail. The faces are readable, and it's got nice nice little accessories and pouches and straps and everything. Someone's looking maybe half orc. Yeah. What are we looking at here? Oh, maybe human. Yeah, female human barbarian, I'm guessing. From that that pose and the open mouth and everything. And they're human scale. You know, they don't have a weird, distorted kind of cartoony or heroic scale. So nothing super deformed or anything. So that works. Let's see. This looks like a magic user. Oh, nice. Yeah, really nice staff. So our female half-elf wizard. Nice pose. Yeah, there's some nice dynamic. And, you know, and the really nice thing about this, it's a nice quality miniature pre-assembled, so you don't have to cut things off of sprues. So you're getting dynamic poses and not having to, you know, you're missing part of the hobby, the miniatures hobby, because you can get these painted a lot easier and on the table. Nice. There's our. What is that? A human half-elf looking ranger now? Sword and shield, so not a dwarf fighter. Oh, maybe our male. This is our paladin. Yeah, maybe our male elf paladin. Those look like elfish or half-elfish ears. Yeah, but decent. And look at that sword. Wow, straight. It's nice to see. Yeah, they use decent plastic. Yeah, there's a little bit of line. You can see the mold line on the base there, but not a huge amount. And so it won't be until you get a tool on it if you'll find out how easily this plastic cleans up. But yeah, not bad at all. Oh, here we go. Our monk, half female, half elf monk. Yeah, and a nice pose. We were looking at the Siege of the Citadel 90s miniatures where everybody had the look of hieroglyphics. They were completely 2D in their poses. But yeah, this is nice. And so, of course, yeah, these look like they're all sculpted digitally. So they're nice and dynamic and detailed, like all the miniatures in the board game world are now. Here's our ranger. Our male half-orc ranger. Nice. Come on, focus. Yeah. And the bow is nice and straight. I mean, it's curved, but it's not cast. It's not because it's miscast. Yeah, very good. Yeah, and they're all recognizable if you look, you know, just at them as a group. The silhouettes are all very unique and recognizable. So they did enough of a job, you know, characters that are typically dual wielding or typically have a staff. They included that, so the silhouettes are all unique. So they'll be identifiable, even if they're not painted. They'll be identifiable on the table separately. Here is a halfling. What am I looking at here? It's a tiny, it's a dwarf. Oh, maybe the dwarf druid. Yeah, female dwarf druid. There's a little nature theme going on there. And druids can have metal, so the mace, a kind of stone axe or hatchet. And leather, looks like leather armor. Nice. Yeah. And here's our dwarf. So what did they give? The male dwarf, just the fighter, with a large battle axe or battle warhammer. Yeah, that's a big hammer. Yeah, not a huge beard, but it's dwarf-ish, dwarfable, and a nice, nice sculpted cape. Yeah, but really unique silhouettes. That's nice. That definitely works. All right. Yeah, so we took it. So that's everything in the basic set. Oh, watch me not put these in very, very perfectly. So we need to move on to the next part. So let's slide this over. So that was the basic box, and you can see it's about that thick, right? Well, this is its companion. So more than double thickness and more. Yeah, it's bigger all the way around. Double thickness and wider all the way around. So this is everything that they funded in stretch goals. So it's still Fantasy Series 1 and all the stretch goals. So I think there is a huge dragon in here actually as well. We'll take a quick look. There's a little bit of art on the back. Hey, how's it going, Papa? We're looking at tabletop RPG miniatures. So this is Blacklist Miniatures. This is the stretch goals box. So there's their art. So I think we're gonna have an innkeeper and a troll and a halfling doing something. All right, so let's get this open. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you can see. Yeah, the box has a nice satin finish, so it's not too glossy and nice touch. All right, jeez, look at this. Yeah, so it doesn't even fit on camera. Huge box. Oh yeah, there's a nice little silhouettes. I don't know if you can see them. There's little like grayed out silhouettes of, it looks like a werewolf and a dwarf with dual axes. So this is what, gonna be 3 trays? How many trays? Oh man. So I really appreciate that they do, because then these can, be stored anywhere. Things aren't going to be falling out. It's nice that they put these covers on the vacuum trays. That's a really nice bonus. So some nice companies that assume you're going to be using their trays to store the miniatures do that. So I think they did a nice job of that. You know what? I'm going to have to refer to the Kickstarter page, I think, for everything that was in the stretch goals, because it's quite long. Wow. Yeah, let's take a look here at everything that was in the first set. Sorry, it's kind of glitching out here. Where's that graphic they usually show? All right. Well, we may have to play the name game here. So let's take the cover off. Yeah, another nice set. And again, 5 of each. Oh, wow. And we've got some more translucent plastic. So here is our, maybe a ghost. It looks like a ghost. Look at that. That plastic is really nice. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to put anything on that. I think maybe some ink or something to grab some of the detail, but I would worry you don't want to ruin any of that translucence. That looks really great because when it gets thinner, it gets less colored and more just actually clear and transparent. Look, yeah, towards the end of the hair and the end of the arms. it just fades away. Yeah, there's a huge graphic. Let me see if I can pull that up. Sorry to take a second here. Yeah, they had a list of everything on the Kickstarter, and for some reason that page is not showing it. Oh, there we go. All right. So we made it through everything in the first box. So here's the stretch goals. All right, it's going to be, there's a lot. So it may take some time to figure out what everything is, but it'll be fun, right? The live stream will go and go. So there is a, what is that? A vicious looking, yeah, some type of, let's get down to the monsters here. Yeah, those are ghosts. The translucent ones are ghosts. Oh, these are unholy knights. Yeah, so that's a skull face if you couldn't see it. A skull face and a tattered cloak. So these are unholy or undead knights. You can, revenants or whatever, any fighters of the undead, that would work. The vacuum trays have a very specific way things go back in. Oh, and these look like the characters. So we'll just go through the monsters first. And who are these guys? These maybe just look like thugs or, like highwaymen. Let's see what they're naming these. On the wow, yeah, there's a lot of characters. A lot of characters in here. Did it put, yeah, not on the back of the box. I wonder, I'm going to pull these out and there's going to be like a book that describes like what everything is on the inside. Oh, we've got some steampunk coming up. Wow. Oh, those are, oh, I'm sorry. The first blue that I pulled out were the banshees. Yeah, so these blue, there are ghosts in here, but the ghosts are male. These are the banshees. So that's why she's got her mouth open. There's a water elemental coming up. I don't know who these gruesome... Oh, wow. There's a lot of big stuff in here. Let's see. Who are these guys? I still haven't figured out... Ah, yeah, they're bandits, yeah. Yeah, so these are just the generic bandits. My guess was close. Ah, I think I can do some of these. There's our mummy. Yeah, there's a little bit to clean up on the mummy. But yeah, he's a very mummy pose. So plenty identifiable. Here's our kind of clockwork steampunk looking, kind of golem or mechanical. What are they calling these? The scrolling mouse wheel sound effects. Constructs, yeah, these are just the metal constructs. So summoners or conjurers can animate these machines. So yeah, the constructs, and we saw the banshees. And these look like imps. Some small demons are imps. Yeah, so much smaller than the gargoyle. But yeah, get some decent pictures. Yeah, a list would be great. I probably could figure it out from a list. I do better with lists. Yeah. Oh, they're calling these gargoyles as well. Oh, okay. Yeah, so those are smaller gargoyles. And these are the... very very translucent little dragon spirits. Yeah, gas serpents. Wow, you can see the fumes coming off of them. Yeah, these could use maybe a little color. Push them one way or another, because right now they look very invisible. But yeah, but nice sculpts. Here's some wild boar action. So about the yeah, fits nice on the base though. Look at that. That's got a nice nice composition, and these look like beetles, some sort of spitting beetle. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Let's see what they are calling these. Fire beetles, yeah. So 5 giant fire beetles. So obviously they're projecting something at the party, and I think we hit everybody. So yeah, we'll save the characters in this tray for the end, and I'll take a look at the next tray. So here's our ghost, the blue here. So this is the blue translucent male is the ghost, although it's not, yeah, particularly gendered. All right. And starting at the top here is our werewolf. So there was big art for him on the front of this box. So yeah, nice stalking werewolf pose. And yeah, torn clothes and everything. Nice. Oh, wait. So these look like bandits. So those are bandits. What was the other thing? Ah, come on. Yeah, the nice thing is, you know, if you're the DM, you can just kind of glance down at available miniatures and say, yeah, that these are, we're calling these this, so you don't have to play this game. But I just wanted to give you the, you know, what they were calling everything and how they were styling everything. Cultists, those appear, I'm guessing, these appear, yeah, they're holding a single dagger. Oh yeah, and wearing hoods, yeah, sorry, these are cultists. So they have the same kind of stalking pose as a bandit, but they're wearing hoods, which I couldn't quite see from the screen. Yeah, so those are your cultists, as you always stumble across. So we had our werewolf, and now we have our wolves. Yeah, that's decent detail. And here's, yeah, more player characters, or yeah, character classes. So we'll go, this appears to be a harpy. Nice, yeah, look at that. So yeah, pre-assembled and decently done. There's no falling off or terribly misaligned wings. It looks good. Are these going to be our hobgoblins? Bugbears, there we go. Here's our bugbears. Yeah, and much more detail. The original art is, they're not very clothed, but they put a lot more armor on them for the final sculpt. So here's our bugbears with their pole arms. Yeah, so a lot of these stretch goal miniatures, they are saying are Kickstarter exclusive, so they produce them. I'm sure that, you know, they're floating around on eBay and things, but I don't think they're going to resell anything except that core box after the Kickstarter. And these are looking very ghoul-like. So, yeah, I think these are our ghouls. Nice. Yeah, we've been fighting ghouls recently, and they've been emaciated and look like they can't do much to you except hit you with either level drain or loss of constitution. So it's been brutal fighting these starving-looking ghouls. Those are quite muscular. There must be a ghoul gym about that they can hit up. All right, yeah, the player classes are going to be a little tricky. There's a lot of them. There's the big stuff. Wow. Yeah, so this bottom layer, there's all the big stuff. Oh, yeah, plus all of our elementals. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, they showed a little bit of... I wish they would have organized this differently. Yeah, so we've got a water, a fire, and maybe wind and earth, air. Yeah, air and earth elementals here. Oh, that's not it. That's an owl. What is that? An owl bear? What is that? It's huge. Maybe a dire bear? I thought that was an elemental because it was so chunky, but it looks like a... wow, yeah, and the giant as well, a female giant. That's insane. Yeah, so what are we looking at? So that's not the earth elemental. Oh, nice. And cards. Oh, that's right. So they did include cards, so you can use these miniatures in the board game that they previously produced. So they included cards to make this all playable. And the board game was also offered as part of the Kickstarter as an add-on if you wanted to add that. What is this giant bear thing? I'm guessing it's just a... it's a dire bear. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the drawing of it is humongous, so... I'm glad we didn't get... Or, I mean, that scale would have been cool, but yeah. So that's our dire bear. He's looking a little shambling. He could be played as a shambling mound, I guess, as well. So here's our fire elemental. So not quite as translucent as the blue. But yeah, if you drilled him out and put a little LED in there, you could really light him up. That would be excellent. Yeah. But nice sculpt, nice twisting, dynamic sculpt. And our water elemental. Yeah, because he's thicker. He's got a darker blue. But a nice splash on the base. Yeah, this will work really well. And here's our wind. Yeah, that completely clear is really interesting. There's, I wonder, there's got to be a couple ways you can go, especially if you find some some glazing or translucent paint. That could look really good. Hey, Papa Zaf, sorry. Yes. Yeah, LED would be cool for these elementals. Light them up. All right, what do we have next? So this is our shambling mound. That has to be, look at that. What is that huge... Oh, he's got a mushroom on his back. That's great. Yeah, the grizzly bear, the dire bear, had a little bit too much shambling mound texture. He could have used a little smoothing. That's a nice crusty appearance, a very swamp thing, or man thing. So this is our troll. Let me just double check that's what they're calling him. Nice and big. Oh, and yeah, we've got a vampire in here too. Yeah, this is our troll, I believe, not to be confused with the ogre coming up soon with his big club. Yeah. So a crusty troll. Nice. That works. Oh, and here's our earth elemental. That's right. So they didn't use any translucent plastic because they're assuming you're painting him to look like stone. So there's all 4 of our elementals. And our snake. What is this? I'm totally blanking on the name. Yeah, the Naga. That's right. Kind of snake monsters. Yeah, he's all face and hood. Yeah, nice texture though, and the good pose. He's all wrapped up on the base. So the Naga. All right, now they're getting really big. Oh man, look at that. So there's our. So just for scale, this is our human scale. This is the human scale they're doing. Like it looks, like 28 millimeter, and that's the female giant scale. Our giantess. Nice. Yeah, and decent detail. It's hard to see. The shininess of the plastic is kind of hurting the detail. But wow. Yeah, that is a big giant. And a lot more elegant, less kind of stupid and clumsy looking, or kind of pot-bellied that they make a lot of giants. So more like a scaled up human proportion. All right, we'll save the biggest for last. So here's our, looks like our demon. I wish there was a better way to do this. All right. Yeah, that is... We got an ogre still to come. And our demon lord, yeah. Oh, yeah, he's very lord-like. So, yeah, there's a demon lord. That's a boss battle, if ever I saw one. Yeah, that's a very World of Warcraft, the sword he's got. Nice. Yeah, but well constructed. And yeah, the larger miniatures seem much more, I guess because the pieces are thicker, much more rigid. So very sturdy. And holding the skull. Oh, the head of something. Nice. A previous competitor. All right. Here's our ogre. Yeah, nice club. Yeah, that's going to be the last thing you face in a campaign, and maybe the last thing you ever see as a character. Nice. Yeah, so this is more of the kind of sloppy proportions I was expecting from the giant. All right, and then our big finisher here, because I think, yeah, that's our last tray. Here's our big finisher. So this says a lot about the designer, how they like to do dragons. Oh, nice. Nice. There is our dragon. Yeah. Decent head. So four-legged. Yeah, so kind of a four-legged posed dragon. But yeah, keeping not insanely unruly as far as how it's stretched out. And the wings are up high enough that it's fits on the base. Yeah, Mantic did a really nice for their Dungeon Saga. They did a really nice dragon. Very stylized, but this is a little more, kind of crusty and realistic in its textures. Very stylized, kind of, 70s fantasy dragon. In green plastic, of course. Yeah, but this is a nice looking dragon, definitely. And you could paint this a few different ways. Definitely could go red or, yeah, red or green or even black. Black or white, too, yeah, with the pointy scales. The tail spines. Interesting. Yeah, but look at that. Get this close to the camera. Look at the texture, though. There's a lot of nice detail. Damage on the wings, kind of broken edges and things. It's been through a lot. Nice open mouth. Yeah, so a nice, not a dopey kind of, puppy face or anything on the dragon. It's nice, nice menacing look. Wow. Yeah, that's a decent piece, and that just dominates. So they weren't wrong when they said huge. It is definitely a huge dragon. All right. All right. Yeah, that's right. Dragons do have four legs. All right. A worm is when the arms are wings. Very good. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah, but really, yeah. Really nice. And that's a heavy, it's a heavy piece. That's great. But yeah, it didn't go crazy with the wingspan though. That's very nice. So it's actually, you can store it without too much too much pain and suffering. So did I get everything? Yeah, that's all of our big guys. And just a quick check. Yep, so that is all of our big guys at the bottom. So let me move this over. And this may take some doing, but we'll try to come close to naming all the player characters we're looking at here. Oh, they really scattered these. I guess because they started adding them since they're stretch goals. They added them as they went. So we're gonna have to take a few guesses. Yeah, this is looking like an elvish wizard with the staff. Yeah, that looks full elf. And I think we're going to get pretty much every combination. And I'm guessing with the dagger, roguish. Yeah, because I don't see any bow or anything. So guessing rogue, or maybe let's take a look. what they're called. Oh, this is. Oh, I'm sorry. We're looking at the constable here. I forgot. We've got some NPCs in here too. So we're looking at the constable. So they're naming her as a sheriff in these parts, or whatever. However you want to play her. Yeah. So we're going to be pulling up some combinations of race and class, and then also some NPCs. Oh, I got lucky here. This is the male human wizard. Yeah, interesting. Just a spell book and a cloak. And so these, kind of generic fantasy miniatures, these would work well for Frostgrave and things because, Frostgrave has like wandering monster rules and things. And you can also conjure animals and things. So, yeah, this would give you a lot to balance that with. This looks very half-orc barbarian. So, yeah, maybe the female counterpart. I'll have to go back and look. I think they do the both genders, like the combination, and probably the most common, like half-orc barbarian, a lot of those common classes because of the racial bonuses you get. I think they swapped genders on those. And here's our dragonkin. I saw this listed. Our dragonkin magic user with his dagger. Yeah, it's not super big. I thought they usually towered. The dragonborn usually towered. Oh, and this is another special NPC. Who was this? Yeah, not the vampire lord. They gave us like a demon, I think. This is the most exciting part, is me searching off screen. Oh no, the demonkin. So this is, yeah. So I guess, tiefling, or because they can't use the licensed trademarked terms. So this is your demonkin or your tiefling, male sorcerer. But of course, they would be playing a female tiefling, right? Yeah, so this... Oh, yeah, here we go. So this might be the same. No tail, though. Yeah, tieflings have tails, don't they? Well, the dragonkin do, definitely. So who is this? She's got a horned helm. Oh, just give me a list. Yeah. So yeah, this is they're calling. So this is another tiefling, or demonkin, as they're calling it, to save the lawsuits. So an assassin. So the same, but she's got a tail. This version. Here's our half-orc paladin. Nice. Yeah, and they do a good job with the scale. The half-orcs are very half-orc scale. What else do we have here? This just looks like a female human fighter. Yeah, so it's nice you've got both genders. A little bit of warp on the sword. Yeah, it seems like some of the swords... well, no, most of the swords were decent. It was the spears. Yeah, it was the spears. So she's going to need some hot water. Or you just have to equip her with nerf weapons. And here's our rogue. Looks like a half-elf. Not quite halfling, so maybe half-elf rogue. Nice. And here's another dragonkin, or dragonborn. Looks like paladin, heavily armored paladin or fighter. Yeah, but look at that detail. They really give you a nice dragony face. And a monk, male human monk to match our female. All right. That's looking like a halfling ranger. Let me just double check that that's what they're intending. God, there's so many. Yeah, because they do on the Kickstarter page is pretty huge art for each of these, the concept art that it was obviously based on. So it looks like, oh, maybe that is a harp on her shoulder. Yeah, it's a bard. So here's female dwarf bard. I couldn't tell if that was arrows or bolts, but no, it's a harp, and she's waving to her adoring fans. Yeah, so only one male dwarf so far, so mostly, yeah, female dwarves. And here's the crossbow of our female dwarf ranger. So, yeah, there she is. Yeah, they did a good job with the scale. Whoa, really tiny. So this is our halfling. I wish I could. Hopefully you can't hear that sound very loud. It sounds really loud to me, but hopefully you're not hearing a scroll wheel buzzing by. Yeah, so this, I think this is the ranger. Yeah, because of the bow and everything. Yeah, very true. Yeah, plastic, yeah. I'd rather clean up plastic than metal or resin any day. Yeah, that's true. The casting, because you could see on the bases and things, yeah, there's things to be cleared off. So this is, I believe this is our halfling ranger. And that's all from this side. Yeah, these are Death Knights. All right, and let's try to, okay, these guys go over here. Let's try to get to our last little set of guess my race and class. This looks like female human, wizard, or sorcerer. I think they, or maybe, oh, maybe that is a druid actually. She looks very natural. Nice. Yeah, the weight of metal miniatures is really nice and very, very nostalgic as well. All right. Looks like our half-elf fighter holding some sort of vial. Probably using the last cure light wounds potion of the that the party has. Yeah, so they're covering just about anything. Of course, you know, D&D gets pretty elaborate with their races and things. So this is basically your most standard combinations. Oh, here's our innkeeper. So a couple more NPCs. So we have our constable in our last tray, and here's the innkeeper with his tray of mugs and a huge tankard of ale. Yeah, he's nice and wide and well fed. Here's our female, looks elf ranger. Nice. Ah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, and some of these dual wielding. Yeah, who is that? Yeah, and that's the nice thing too, is, you know, this is their suggested. Oh, this is the barbarian. He just doesn't have the headscarf. So here's our half-elf barbarian. But whatever you kind of see these as, or if they're close enough to your kind of race class combo, it works. Yeah, it's always frustrating because it's never going to be the exact, you know, weapons that you're carrying. Yeah, because I haven't seen any druids with scimitars, and I'm always carrying a scimitar if I'm playing a druid. Yes, is this? Oh, we've got a wizard coming up. Looks a little interesting. Nice. Yeah, that will help. And I like the range of genders, because I was using a lot of the miniatures I had from other board games didn't have it was mostly male, so any female players were having trouble finding anything that even remotely looked like what they wanted. So this is our half orc range, or sorry, half orc rogue. She's got a little light crossbow there. So half orc rogue. Yeah, but they definitely could work as whatever they seem to suggest. There's a male dwarf. He's not as thick as he could be, but look at that beard. That's looking pretty shirtless, or no, he's so fighter or barbarian, depending if he's lightly armored or not. Nice. Yeah, looks like our, oh, come on, focus, our female rogue. Yeah, they did a decent job with capes and things. Yeah, definitely stuff to clean, but not, oh, what is, what is this? This is not, no, it's not a lich. Yeah, she's tiny, like a real tiny little face. This is a street vendor, another NPC. So here's a street vendor, a woman offering necklaces. Yeah, I couldn't tell what class that was supposed to be. It's the merchant class. That's why. All right, yeah, she's really tiny, though. Really thin and a small face. Oh, there we go. So there's a male elf bard. Look at the scimitar and the guitar on the back. Nice. Yeah. All the poses, that's nice that it's not a kind of generic or repetition of generic posing. There's some nice stuff here. So here is our Lich Lord. So I'm not exactly a player, but this is a one-off though, like a one-off like mini boss, or I guess it's a Lich Lord. It could be a lot more formidable than that. But yeah, his batwing staff there. Come on, focus. Don't do that. There we go. Yeah, but bony face and tattered coat. Yeah, NPCs, yeah, are very, very helpful. Here's our Vampire Lord. So they put all of our little undead guys together. So your Strahd generic placeholder. All right. Oh, another bard. Here's a male. Yeah, male. Human male bard. Complete with instrument. And drink. He's always drinking. He enters the dungeon, flagon in hand. All right. Oh, we got a lot of little people coming up as well. Wow, this is quite a weapon. Who is this? Oh, there was a druid with it. Or there will be. Did we see the druid with the scimitar yet? There's a yeah, it was a shield and a scimitar. Maybe not yet. Yeah, so there is a druid with a scimitar. That would actually work for what I'm playing tomorrow. Yeah, we're a whole human party. That's the first time that's ever happened. Tomorrow we're doing a 5e. Oh, this is a paladin. It looks like a glaive or a polearm. Yeah, it's a very long-bladed weapon. So yeah, they're calling this the paladin. Yeah, female human paladin. Interesting. Yes. The druid scimitar with that damage on a scimitar. You can't argue with that. And it's a finesse. They'll still give you finesse. It's still a finesse weapon, so you can be the dexterous build. Who is this little fellow here? He's feeling a little NPC. Oh, no. It's a cleric, yeah. So he's really tiny. So this, I think we're hitting the gnomes at the bottom here. Yeah, so they're even looking a little tinier than the halfling. So here's a gnome, unfocusable cleric. Nice, just a book. The good book, the good word. Oh, tiny. Yeah, so maybe a gnome druid. Really small with just a little staff. Yeah, we've got a lot of gnomes coming up here. Yeah, that was the dwarf. That was a barbarian, the dwarf with the 2 axes. But we're looking gnomish and druid here. With another big adventuring pack. There we go. And a gnome paladin. We've got a whole row of gnomes here. Female gnome paladin. Look at that huge warhammer. And there's a cleric. That looks like halfling, though. The proportions are more. Yeah, not quite. So female dwarves are a little broader in these sculpts. So halfling cleric. Yeah, maybe, or paladin. Oh yeah, it could be paladin. That's right. I think you're right. Oh, nice. I think we're looking at a dwarf, a male dwarf monk. He's ready to take you apart. Yeah, I don't think he's casting. I think that's the monk. He's got like the foot wraps and everything. Although there is like an angry casting dwarf. He might still be. Oh yeah, no, he's coming up. He's doing the Dragon Ball pose. Nice. Is that? So it looks like we just got a male fighter. Or is that a? Maybe. Yeah. Looks like a fighter. I'm not sure if that's female human or not. I guess the hair is pretty long, but the face is kind of harsh. It could play either way, definitely. It's, on the tabletop, you're not going to see a lot of detail, but there's a fighter. A two-handed, a Zweihander. And here's a little gnome fighter. So a male gnome fighting it out. So kind of the same class, different race. And our gnome monk. All right. Yeah, we've got every kind of monk now. Elf and human. And yeah, last our male dwarf sorcerer with his Kamehameha ready to go, or his Hadouken. Nice. Oh, but that's a nice dynamic cape though. Come on. I lost the sweet spot for the focal autofocus difference. Nice. Yeah, so wow, yeah, really good variety and a lot of the gender swaps of everything. Yeah, right. And gnome voices are something you don't want to hear for an entire session. That's for sure. Wow, so I think that is it. Yeah, so we got through everything. So this has been the Series 1. So Blacklist Miniatures Series 1 for their fantasy series. So the reason that I kind of give this unboxing a priority is because they're in the last 3 days of their Kickstarter for their Fantasy Series 2, which will be even more combinations of genders and races and classes than we have here. Additional monsters, and also a new game that they're calling Lasting Tales. Lasting Tales. So Lasting Tales will put to use all of these different fantasy characters and probably a lot of the NPCs and things as well. And what it is a cooperative tabletop miniatures game. So similar to the Rangers of was it Rangers of the Underdark or not Underdark? Yes. So so there's been a few cooperative games for kind of 1 to 5 players, so you can solo the game. or you can play cooperatively as a party. And it's a miniatures game, so you're measuring and playing with miniatures rules. So, there's less emphasis on role playing, but you are playing characters. So Lasting Tales is their kind of foray into the kind of what's going on with some miniatures games that are allowing cooperative and solo rules. So it's not like a strictly combat miniatures game. So a whole new series, a little bit more expensive this time, but maybe I think it's another 200, another 200 miniatures. So series 2 will double, just in case you needed 400 miniatures. And the same sort of situation where they are all there are 5 of each of the monsters, but they're the duplicate sculpts. So more things that looks like zombies. Let's take a look real quick. Oh, and they're also having a company do a set of terrain. So of course, for like a narrative miniatures cooperative game, you would need terrain. So they're working with a company to do terrain. This Kickstarter doesn't give you terrain, but gives you a discount for ordering the kind of official terrain. So mimics, giant snakes, giant scorpions, things like generic town guards and things are included. A hydra, so a centaur, a boy from the village, panther, manticore. Yeah, so some bigger models as well, and just a lot of other combinations that maybe they hadn't had race and class combinations. A minotaur. So a lot of things, and I think a lot of these are going to come up in the course of the Lasting Tales narrative game. There's, specifically Chimera, which looks like it will be pretty big. And then some generic, bandits, lizard men, lizard folk. And, let's see if they're crocodile. So some more lesser demons. Ogre zombie, there you go. So you have their ogre, but as the zombie version. A treant, necromancer, more death knights. And some corrupted characters, a corrupted dwarf lord, ogre shaman, an ancient dweller. That looks like their big one for this second set is going to be basically Cthulhu. So an ancient dweller, like an old one. Yeah, they're huge miniature. Yeah, so the equivalent, if you remember the size of the 3-inch base on the dragon, that was probably 4. No, I guess that was 3. The 3-inch base on the dragon. They're going to do a Cthulhu. The pose is kind of dynamic, but a winged Cthulhu-looking monster for their big monster. So a little bit more, undead and necromancy in the second set. But a lot more other combinations. Anything they may have missed, like a female half-orc ranger as opposed to a half-orc ranger male. So a lot of other stuff. Ah, right, yeah. So that gets them. Oh, and they're doing wraiths. They're kind of green translucent wraiths. Yeah, so their take on an old one, or an elder god, is coming up. So that's another. So the base pledge just for the miniatures is $75 as opposed to $65. So maybe it wasn't as cheap, or it's gotten less affordable. And then the Epic tier will give you the game, Lasting Tales, and this Series 2 miniatures. And then, of course, you can get everything. You can get this series, Series 2, and their new game as well. So take a look at that. So it's Lasting Tales on Kickstarter. And I'll put a link in the description of this video. But they did a nice job. I mean, the price was really hard to beat because you get a lot. You get over 100 miniatures and a lot of the fantasy board games that are coming out, like tile-based kind of crawler board games. But those are usually over $100 for the most part, unless you get them discounted after a Kickstarter. But usually the base pledge is close to $100. So when $65 for 200 miniatures came up, it was really hard to resist, and especially because they were doing very standard race class combinations that will be useful in a lot of different settings. So unfortunately, all my recent gaming has been virtual tabletop. So miniatures are just something to dream about using. But eventually, when we're meeting face to face and not through webcams, we can get some miniatures on the table and enjoy having this huge kind of reserve of characters to choose from. But yeah, so it's definitely worth checking out. And I think this core set too is going to go to retail, so it's going to be discounted. There might, you might be getting close to that price, if not cheaper, for this much plastic. So it's worth considering. And I think they really did a good job with the translucent plastic. It works really well and creates. It looks, the contrast is so great if you're surrounded by ghosts or ooze or whatever. It's looks very nice on the tabletop. So yeah, so check out the Blacklist Miniatures. I'm really happy with how these came out. They're definitely not board game quality. They put some extra work in there and got some really detailed looks, and the range of poses and everything is really satisfying. It's not just them swapping weapons and heads on the same pose again and again. The artist really put in some work to duplicate a lot of the concept art and give you some real nice looking. And the stylization too, it all holds together. Like if you used only these miniatures for a campaign, stylistically it looks like all the same world, and everything's in a nice, scale, nice even scale. So yeah, they're really good job. Nothing too exaggerated, but nothing too generic that it's just, it's boring. It's not, it's not very interesting. Yeah, there were a couple of sets of miniatures that, yeah, obviously the digital sculptor, started with the, a basic male or female figure and just barely embellished it and considered those miniatures. But these are yeah, really dynamic and well sculpted. Yeah. Oh wow. So yeah. So everything. If you wanted to do everything, so $225. So that is Series 1, Series 2, and the book itself. But that includes all the stretch goals. So that's $225 for 400 miniatures, and for the game book is $40 as well. So that is that's going to make your postal delivery person cry, but that will be a lot of miniatures. And it really looks like they did a nice job. They put in the effort to make these trays work as very reusable and not just something you pull the miniatures out of and then there's no way they're going back in there, and there's no way that they're going to be durable enough to use as storage. These are nice. These are thicker vacuum trays than you're usually getting, and they fit really nicely in the boxes. Yeah. So that's a good price. Yeah. So like around 50 cents. Yeah, around 50 cents a miniature. That's great. And they're not, not shabby miniatures. These aren't the. I don't want to insult any company by making them the example of the worst type of miniatures, but they're not those bad miniatures from those bad miniature companies. Wow. So yeah. So take a look at that. It's in the last 3 days. So if you're seeing this too deep in the archives, it's been over. But they do late pledges as well. And I do think because this Kickstarter has been delivered, it's going to be at retail. This core box will be at retail, and at least available on their website. So Blacklist Miniatures, and I think they're U.S. based. I think that said Los Angeles. And also check out the other games that they've done. I'm blanking on the names, but they've done previous Kickstarters. I think this is actually the 8th or 9th. So they've done previous board games before, and that's why they included the cards in this set, so you could bring some of these monsters into their fantasy board game. Nice. Oh yeah, fantasy. Yeah, exactly. Papa had to name them. Yeah, in the chat, Fantasy Flight got called out. Yeah, especially some of their early attempts at miniatures for board games were brutal. Yeah, some of the mold, the flash, the halves of the molds didn't even look like they actually made it together. There were some real uneven castings and things. All right. Well, thank you for joining me. And if you enjoyed this, please give me a like in the under this video. And so we live stream on both Twitch and YouTube, and you can also find us on our Facebook page. The video appears live on the Facebook page. And as I said, I'll put the link to their current Kickstarter in the text below this video. And If you'd like to support what we're doing with the unboxing, consider visiting patreon.com/idleredhands. idleredhands.com is currently the website. We're going to be going through a rebranding soon, so there'll be a new name and things will be new and different soon. But the website, idleredhands.com, and follow us on Twitter as well. So that has been Series 1, of the Fantasy Miniatures. Thank you for the follow, Papa. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was nice to have you in the chat. I like people keeping me honest about my my monster IDs. Very cool. So so these are well worth checking out. If you've been looking for, they're definitely going to be cheaper than a lot of the Reaper, even like the Reaper Bones miniatures and stuff. I mean, 50 cents a character. A character race, nice standard combination is worth it, and nice detail, so worth it. They're all, except for some of the special monsters, they are all gray plastic, but there's some nice, as you saw with the elementals and things, some greens and blues and things that look really nice. So thanks again for watching, and we'll be back again soon. As I said, I'm buried in in deliveries, so there'll be a lot of unboxings in the coming week of new and very delayed things that have shown up from Kickstarter in various places. So please take care and join me again for another unboxing. That's all for now. Bye.